Jolly welcome, everyone. My name is Yhurgis, and let's just go ahead and get started. It's been one really good year for games. I played 25 titles. Let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I've actually played Doom 1993. There's nothing to say about it besides it's just a classic. I absolutely love this game. I played through the entirety. There's still some other chapters that I need to go through, so I'll definitely be going into that 2024. But I also ended up playing a sequel, years and years later on called Doom Eternal. Now, I know there's Doom 2016, but I actually played that last year. So to keep things 2023 inspired, I played Doom Eternal this year, played it to its entirety. I just have the DLC to play, and I haven't done that yet, but it's honestly such a good title. I couldn't help but just bring up the fact that Doom 2016 was such a good game, but Doom Eternal took all pieces of this, refined it, and then just amplified it into a new title. It's an absolutely amazing game that has a really good story that captivated me in a way that not many other FPS story-based games have done. So definitely, if you have any reservations about this series, cast it aside and give it a try. The next set of games that I've played were actually not on PC. I played a lot of Nintendo titles, but there's three that I completed that I really enjoyed, and I had to go ahead and basically brag about how I actually completed them this year. So first of all, we start with Pokemon Legends Arceus. It was a really good game. I haven't played a Pokemon game in such a long time, and how it kind of just blended the gameplay of regular Pokemon with something like Monster Hunter just was absolutely unexpected. I kind of came into it with the idea that maybe I'll play it, maybe I might like it. If I don't, I can always return it to the shop. But my oh my, I am not going to return this game. I really love it. I really hope that they put in a sequel or start incorporating this new gameplay style in future Pokemon games. But then I also happened to play Breath of the Wild. Now, I love Zelda. I love the Zelda series in general. I played them. I think the first game that really inspired me to get deep into video games was Wind Waker. So playing Breath of the Wild was something that kind of took a little bit of endurance, because there's been plenty of times where I played the game and then set it down. And then just months on later, I just feel like I need to restart the game just to get the story in and to kind of get into the Breath of the Wild phase that I typically do. But I finally completed it to 100%. Got all of the shrines, got everything sorted, got the best armor, maxed my armor, and set it up the way I wanted. And I really just enjoyed the game altogether. And then I also saw that Tears of the Kingdom came out just while I was playing Breath of the Wild, and I had to go ahead and get Tears of the Kingdom right after finishing Breath of the Wild, and played that to completion, getting all the shrines, getting maxed armor of my choice, and then just going through all the story just one by one. I took Breath of the Wild, and then I took Tears of the Kingdom, and it was just an amazing experience. If you haven't played either of the titles, play them back to back. That's my recommendation. Moving away from Nintendo titles, I actually decided to go ahead and play a few more FPS games that, just I never got to. And just from my experience with Doom Eternal, some of them were really exciting. Some I was a little bit hesitant upon. So the first game that I'm going to cover is this Half-Life 2 mod called Swelter. And if you generally just like the Half-Life 2 combat style, you'll love Swelter. It's just basically a continuation of the story. It's kind of like got its own taste on the Half-Life universe. You play as a completely unique character. Everything's new. There's some unique pieces to this mod that just kind of make it feel a little bit more modern, but overall it was a really positive experience for me. And then following that, I decided to give another play of Fallout New Vegas. Fun fact, New Vegas was the very first game that I got on Steam. It's in fact the game that I bought on CD that brought me to create my Steam profile and get into PC gaming. So it holds a really big piece in my heart. I love it. It's a good game. Definitely give it a shot. It holds up really well. There's a while where it didn't work on PC super well because of Microsoft, but that wasn't a problem this time, and I was able to enjoy it played through it several times, created new builds. I had an axe build that I went through, but generally the guns are so much to, like, they're so much fun to play with. It just was too much fun to not just go through and eventually build a guns build for the 8th time. And then following that, I decided to play Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it that much. I was actually really against it. I wanted to play it to completion just for the sake of having purchased the game, but I didn't really start enjoying the game until I got into the story a little bit more with Keanu Reeves' character, and then Panam, the female character that, you know, your character can romance. Those two pieces and the stories that branched off of that were really good. So yeah, Samurai Jack definitely saved the game, but I heard that the DLC was really good, but I don't plan on playing Cyberpunk 2077 again, at least not for the time being. So it was okay. I know that a lot of people will swear by Cyberpunk, and if you love it, great. It just wasn't my favorite FPS game. I think it's good, but it's not astounding, and it's definitely way better now that there's a lot of like attention to it. And I do love CD Projekt Red still. I think they're a great game studio, and I hope that they keep making Cyberpunk better. Moving away from pure FPS games, I actually went into another FPS game eventually, and that was Remnant. And Remnant is basically this Dark Souls-like game, but with guns. And I played it with a good friend of mine, and we just went through the entire mainline story very quickly. I think we finished the game in like 8 hours together. We played, you know, every night for a solid 3 nights, and we completed the game. It was a lot of fun, mind you, but I definitely wanted to see more of it. It just was so good. It was really good. I ended up using this gun that acted like a flamethrower, and I had to use it. I had to max out the flamethrower. You know me. If there's a flamethrower in the game, I'm gonna use it. So I definitely did that in New Vegas, by the way. But yeah, Remnant, really good game. Was surprised that I had not played it sooner. It was really something that I got for my birthday years ago from my brother, and finally got to playing it this year. And it was so good. I definitely recommend this game, and Remnant 2 came out, and apparently it's even better. So I'm looking forward to playing that next year. Now, I also, you know, want to keep things Souls like, so I also played Dark Souls Remastered for the first time. I played Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition, I played Dark Souls 2, I played Dark Souls 3, I played, you know, plenty of Bloodborne, I played, I mean, just a handful of other Souls-like games, and I never got Souls Remastered. Until this year, when another good friend of mine, a different friend, was gonna play Dark Souls 1 for the first time, and I just had to play with him. So we didn't play together as much as I had hoped, but we played together quite a bit, and it was a good time. I rage quit several times because it had been like 5+ years since I played the first Dark Souls, and I forgot some of the like tricks that, you know, the game throws at you, but it was a really good time. I saw through it. I got all the achievements besides Knight's Order, where you basically have to get all the armor and all the unique weapons, and I plan on probably getting that later, but I'm not gonna stress myself out to get that this year. But it was a really good experience. I love the Dark Souls series, and Dark Souls 1 still is one of my favorite games after all this time. So I have a confession to make, and I've tried not to talk about this in any of my videos, but I got into a really weird phase of my life where I was non-stop listening to a series on YouTube, and this series is none other than Gino's this is hard to admit, but it was the Chris Chan documentary series that has 80+ episodes, and I've listened to all of it. I have no idea why I tortured my soul with this, but I ended up listening to so much Chris Chan lore that I had to basically stop myself and do something while playing these videos out to myself. I don't know why. My soul was hurting, my brain was hurting, and I was cringing every minute, but I loved the series. So while I was listening to the series, I decided, hey, you know what? I don't want to just go ahead and stare at these videos all day. I'm going to go ahead and play a game while listening to these Chris Chan documentaries. So I ended up doing that with the Orcs Must Die series. I know, right? So a lot of people probably have not played this trilogy before, but there's Orcs Must Die 1, 2, and 3. And I completed all 3 of these while simultaneously listening to Chris Chan. It was basically like a ritual almost. Like, if I played Orcs Must Die 1 to completion, okay, I gotta go ahead and boot up YouTube and go to the Chris Chan documentary and play Orcs Must Die 2 and listen to it through the entirety of all 3 games. It was really, really weird. So, I don't think I'll ever be able to play Orcs Must Die without thinking of Chris Chan, but it's okay because I'm killing orcs and you know, honestly, I think it's self-explanatory, so my lawyer advised me not to make any more jokes about this. So, it was a good trilogy. It's a really good game series. I love tower defense now because of Orcs Must Die, so I definitely want to find some more of these games. So, let me know if you know any games that are similar to this, and I'll try not to think of weird people too much. Now we get into the horror sort of phase that I went through this year. Now, there were a lot of really good horror games that came out this year, and I just had to go ahead and give my 2 cents on them. Now, first of all, Lethal Company. Amazing game. Love it. Played for like 18 hours with random strangers and several other hours with friends. Downloaded mods to basically continue Lethal Company, but right now I'm kind of at a point where I've seen it all. I've really enjoyed it. I would suggest if you haven't seen anything about Lethal Company, get into it. Play it. It's such an amazing title. I made a video on it. I loved it. I wouldn't make a video on a game that I don't like. It was nothing besides just absolute fun. It just kind of felt like this popular trend because it blew up on the internet and it's so popular still. People are still making videos on it and it's such a good game, so definitely give it a shot. And then I also got into a less popular horror game called The Backrooms. I love the Backrooms lore. I love just the game, how it worked. Inside the Backrooms is honestly the best Backrooms game you can find on Steam. So if you're into Backrooms lore, give it a shot. You know, try to get it on sale. Played all through every level with friends, and it was such a good time. I would recommend doing that with friends. Don't try to do it by yourself. I think, you know, half of the fun is just seeing your friends react to them dying, whereas you survived a narrow death. I have no idea how to really explain it besides just sharing it in a video, which I already did previously, but whenever new updates come on, definitely gonna expect to see some videos from me on that. And then also the Steam Workshop opened for this, so a lot of custom maps are coming out. Maybe not as many as I'd hoped, but hey, Steam Workshop for Inside the Backrooms is still pretty new, so I'll try to get in on this and convince my friends to try it as well. And then we have another game called Missing Hiker, which is a really, really short game that I ended up enjoying. It wasn't, you know, astounding, but it was something that, you know, hey, when I got my Steam review for the year, I was like, oh yeah, I did play this game to completion, and it was pretty good. You might not remember it, you know, years down the line, but it was a good game. It's something that you can definitely play for one night and just enjoy it for what it is. It's not supposed to be a high-end, make it, you know, or break it game of the year or anything like that. It's just supposed to be a fun night in, you know, when you got nothing else to do and want to play something scary. Now, another game that I played was The Forest. I played this with friends, and I'm seeing a trend where I end up playing a lot of horror games that have multiplayer capacity, and I end up doing it with friends throughout the entire way, because that's honestly the only way I want to play games at this time. So, did that, and I enjoyed it. Forest was good. First time completing the game, you know, killing the final boss and going through the cutscenes, because I believe when I played The Forest originally, when it came out in alpha, there wasn't a whole lot to the story. So playing it again and seeing what they put into the game was just astounding, and I'm just glad that they got to make this a full-fledged game, but I didn't really play much of the sequel. Now, time for the funny games that I've played this year. South Park Stick of Truth. I don't know what to say besides just an absolute gem of a game that anybody who just, hasn't played needs to play. Now, of course, if you're not big on South Park, then don't play the game. But if you are, definitely play the game. Oh my gosh. I don't think I actually ever got into South Park until 2023 because YouTube Shorts just kept recommending South Park shorts to me. And I just got to basically be embraced by this whole new type of humor that I have never experienced before. And then I got to play it in a game. I finished this game. Like, it was the only game I played for like a solid 3 days, and I completed it and I loved it. Every part, it was good. Really felt like I had my own character in the game, even though, basically my character's name was replaced with douchebag. So it was really good. I loved it. It was something that I did not expect to like as much as I did. But there's even a sequel that I plan on playing before basically South Park Studios makes another game. I want to make sure that I get in on this as soon as they come out. So playing the next game is a no-brainer for me. Turbo Dismount, on the other hand, is a funny game that doesn't really have too much to do with, an animation studios or even story. It's just a turbo dismount game where you fling cars and dummies and you try to basically break as many bones for a dummy as possible. Got it as a gift from a friend that I really enjoyed. I think they sent it to me for my birthday, so I gave it a shot. Enjoyed it. Same thing as Missing Hiker. Nothing to write home about. You may not remember it until you play it again or see it in your Steam year review, but it was a good time, and I definitely got some really impressive points that I had to share with friends on Discord. Even though the whole thing is kind of outdated, I did find myself getting really, really high in the leaderboards universally, or globally rather, on Turbo Dismount. So it was a lot of fun. I definitely just played it just to relax. Okay, another game genre that I got super, super into this year were roguelites. I normally don't play roguelites. I didn't really see the appeal of them. I hated just having to start over and over and over again. But one game that I definitely loved this year was Vampire Survivors. I have no idea why I got so into it. I kind of just embraced it like it was just an arcade game. And if I had to restart, it was just like putting in a new quarter and trying it again. I love arcades. I love arcade games. Vampire Survivors was exactly like that, except there were permanent upgrades that you got, after an amount of time, and you got new characters. And when you really figure out how to use one character, you figure out how to use the rest of them, and just becoming the most OP character of all time, where you could just go in till the end of time until the game physically says you can't play anymore. That felt good. Being that good at the game made me feel like, oh man, I'm so skilled at this game. Even though, that's the whole point. You're supposed to become powerful. You're supposed to get all the upgrades. You're supposed to be this, like, close to omnipotent being in Vampire Survivors. And it was just a really good time the entire way through. I would just, be completely invested. I didn't even need to listen to, a documentary or anything like that. Sometimes I would play some music like Bauhaus and just get into it. But it was such a good game. It made me change my opinion on roguelites. So I gave Risk of Rain 2 another chance, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I actually did like it. It is my favorite roguelite of all time. Just the way it plays. I love third-person shooters, and the characters were great. The graphics look really cool. I love the art style. And then I decided to go ahead and get masteries for every single character, including the DLC character. So yes, I did get the DLC for Risk of Rain 2, got several of my friends to play with me, but even got into playing the game on master difficulty by myself and just enjoying that. So that was just something that made me feel like I mastered the game. And speaking of mastering the game, I got Hades this week, like the last week of 2023, and absolutely loved it so much. I completed the game my third day. I played it. I got the final ending in under 30 attempts, and it was just a really, really good game. I love it. I'm gonna still play it. I'm looking forward to Hades 2 now. I think the reason why I played Hades in the first place was because Hades 2 won an award for being the most anticipated game. And then also, I remember some good friends of mine really recommending the game, like Array. He was a big fan of Hades. So definitely had to play it, because of him and several other friends that love Hades. I know I just enjoyed playing with Aegis, the shield, the most, and getting those permanent upgrades definitely made me enjoy the game so much more, because as time went on, what seemed impossible became incredibly easy. It also felt like whenever you completed a boss and you finally killed them, you just started doing it more consistently because it became possible in your mind. I loved that, and Hades mastered that feeling and how to make a player feel like anything's possible. So it was really good. Definitely suggest you playing it if you have any reservations. The last few games that I want to cover are actually, probably in my opinion, the favorite games that I've played all year. And they're 3 games: God of War, Baldur's Gate 3, and Witcher. Now, God of War was a game that I've just been encouraged to play for so many years, and it finally came out to PC. It just had the best ratings of any game on the Steam charts, and I wasn't really sure whether I was going to like it or not, but I fell in love with the series. I played all of God of War. I played it to the end. It was the only game on my mind while I was playing it, and I'm so glad that I played it the way I did. I think that for me, the only thing that I would have reservations about are some common criticisms, like, very few different kinds of enemies, just kind of recycled assets, and the Valkyrie battles were really, really tough, like obscenely tough. I don't know why, but it was good. And I really enjoyed the game, loved the story, and it just made me want to look more into mythology after that. It was just a good time. It just felt like you were reading the best book in video game form. And I definitely want to play Ragnarok now. I can't wait for it to be on PC. I also played Baldur's Gate 3, which won Game of the Year for 2023. I actually completed the game after a long time. Like, I remember the game feeling so long. There was like so many different acts that, took hours upon hours. It took like a week to complete the first act by myself. It took a week to complete Act 3. It took, so much time. And I remember just like feeling like this game deserved so much love that I absolutely could not play it unless I had like 3 hours to spend on it. And oh my gosh, like, I'm glad I treated it that way, because it was something to be savored. It's honestly one of the best games that I've ever played. And I think that, for me, even though I completed the game and loved it as much as I did everything in it. I searched every corner of every act, and there were maybe just a few details that I could probably do in my next playthrough, like doing an evil playthrough, doing the Dark Urge, doing some more characters that, I kept. I basically kept just the same characters in my party the entire time to get everything I could out of their story. So maybe using a few of the other characters might be something that I do in the future. But it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. I'd say, if you have just, the time to get into it, even if you don't have the computer to play it, watch a series on it. Do anything. Like, look it up. Read it, for crying out loud. It's such a good game. And if you ever are in the place where you could play it, do so. Don't hesitate. It's so good. And then last, but definitely not least, in fact, probably my favorite game right now that I just completed today, literally hours before recording this video, is Witcher 1. Now, I was going to actually have this be a full Let's Play, but I wanted to enjoy the game myself. It was such a good run. I got the best weapons. I got the best armor. I got the neutral ending that I wanted. I did everything that I wanted to basically close this game and start Witcher 2. I'm gonna do that probably tomorrow because I love this series so much. I love this series so much. I, in fact, named my cat Geralt, and I had to do a playthrough in his honor because there were so many times where I played Witcher 1, a really old game. Trust me, you need endurance to complete it, but when you do, you feel so accomplished. It's such a good game. I'd say the games only get better. Witcher 2 is obviously going to be better than Witcher 1. Witcher 3 is regarded as one of the best games ever made. So I'm just going to go through and play these in order and enjoy it just the way that it was intended to be played. I also got the books. I'm gonna go ahead and read the comics. I'm going to fully engross myself in this universe after playing the first game, and I am truly, truly excited about it. So yes, that is really the 24 games that I've played, and I'm just excited. Actually, I completely forgot about Hades, so technically 25, but still, it's been a good year games wise, and I'm very excited to play some more games next year. Definitely, you guys know me as the TF2 Pyro YouTuber, but there's so much more that I like than just TF2, even though I do love TF2, and it's what's gotten me, a platform. So definitely expect some more TF2 videos in the future, but expect a lot more besides that because I'm so very grateful for not only you, the viewer, but just the community, the gaming community, and just the plethora of games that we all get to get together and just faithfully enjoy series and universes and worlds and characters that were just brought up by people just like us. So I hope you just enjoy this time with your family, with your friends. Maybe you just want to enjoy playing at your desk, playing a game. That's completely fine. I just hope that you enjoy whatever you're doing as this year ends and that you stick with me throughout 2024. Thank you guys so much. Have a happy new year. Take care. Goodbye.